The Houston Rockets buy, sell, or hold.
I mean, I think they got a good thing going. So, that negative 8.3 net rating is pretty solid. 14 and 30. No, I mean, they should sell everything, right? Like, what's the? I mean, I guess if you're cool with Jalen Green, obviously is keeper, and people seem to like Porter. I don't know about that one, but you keep him around and see what he turns into. But like everybody else, like Gordon, obviously, if you can get a first for Gordon, that's a question. Do you think Gordon's going to bring them a first, like of any consequence?
My guess is yes. I know he's going to be 34 next year and he's making $19.6 million next year, but he's shooting a career high from three. And among players, and we're talking about more than 100 players here who have attempted at least 75 shots off of drives, he is second behind only Giannis in field goal percentage on those lists. So he's like 3-point shooting and rim pressure, and he can even defend some wings. So I look at him and I'm like, yeah, Harrison Barnes, Jeremy Grant, you definitely prefer those guys if you're a team. But if you're a team that doesn't have the assets to get any of the other two, and it's different ends of the positional spectrum, I get it. He feels like one of what should be one of the top deadline prizes this season. And I know there was the report from Kelly Iko of The Athletic that they're content to keep him, but he's just if I'm them, yes, I would move Christian Wood. I would look at
Yep.
I would move anyone except probably Jalen Green and Alperen Sengun at this point. Usman Garuba I'm in love with. And like you just got Josh Christopher. So I get you're not actively shopping guys, but I feel like Gordon for them has to be moved. He might be a positive presence in the locker room, but there's actually a chance his trade value could crater after this season just because of age, injury history, and salary.
I agree. I mean, now's the time. Like, first of all, he's playing like someone that should absolutely get a first back. He's playing like he's playing like someone that is as valuable as we seem to think Barnes and Grant are. Different player, like you said. But the other thing with him is that we've sort of seen him be a really important part of teams that have made deep playoff runs on both ends. Like, he was a very good defender on some very good Rockets teams and can be that. And so the shooting and scoring efficiency, which is better than it's ever been, is much more than a bonus. But like, it's not nothing to have a guy that you can trust on both ends and who can guard up a position if you need him to. That's just a different. And there's not like, there's the big forwards are kind of out there. There's a few of them, but who's like your tough 2/3 that can play both ends? That's also, I mean, like, Terrence Ross is not that type of player. Karis LeVert is not that type of player. So Gordon is almost like, I mean, Taylor Horton Tucker wishes he was that kind of player, but the guys that are available, like Gordon's kind of, I mean, we'll come across some, I'm sure, at some point as we continue to discuss these teams, but like, he's got a little bit of an edge because if you need a player like Gordon, basically you just need Gordon, and there's nobody else that's going to fill that hole.
Yeah, and so he would be my most likely to be traded just because they seem undecided about what they want to do with Christian Wood. They should have moved Christian Wood over the summer, in my opinion, because the right to just pay him a bunch of money in his next deal doesn't do anything for you. You
Yeah.
have Şengün. You gave Daniel Theis money over the offseason for some reason. I really hope Usman Garuba gets to play with the parent club more next season. So Wood is someone I would be shopping. I was actually shocked that I saw the Heat have been the most aggressive trying to get him. That was per a report. I think it was the Athletic, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know what were they offer. They had to be offering $90 million Garrison Matthews plus whatever, like a first in 2025, I guess. So that's not enough. I would think you can definitely get a first for Wood and maybe like a prospect. I guess the issue with him is I can name you, I'll rattle off like 10 teams right now that should trade for Eric Gordon. I can't do the same with Wood. He's kind of more of an anomaly, especially at his position. He's so dynamic on the offensive end, but the center position is just so oversaturated that unless you are willing to settle, I understand, I guess, why you wouldn't move him. Specifically, though, Eric Gordon feels like he's the most likely player to be traded just because he should be traded. I'm not a big time. I'll mention timelines and stuff, but he clearly doesn't, and that doesn't necessarily matter, but he clearly doesn't align with your timeline. And you have other guys in the backcourt that you could evaluate. And maybe this opens some playing time for John Wall somehow if you get rid of Eric Gordon, even though it doesn't seem like John Wall wants to come off the bench, but Eric Gordon's a starter for this team. And I don't know. So he's still a name I'm sticking with there. I would, if I'm them, I'm trying to move David Nwaba. what can we get for DJ Augustine? Does anyone want him? He's technically an expiring contract. He has a $333,000 guarantee next year. And that's the other thing they should be looking to do. And maybe that's how you increase the likelihood you get a first for Eric Gordon, is take back money beyond this season. Maybe money teams don't want. And so, like, if it's Dallas, for instance, this is a team that should just be like, yeah, we'll take Dwight Powell back as part of the salary filler. He's cheaper than Eric Gordon and on a deal for next year. We don't need him, but that's something that you could do to ensure you maybe get a first round pick. Dallas probably isn't the team to get that first round pick from, but that's what I'm doing if I'm Houston.
Yeah, I think just one other point on Wood. I think Miles Turner being hurt is the best thing that could have happened to Christian Wood's value. I mean, he's not the same player. You get more dynamic offense, but you get the stretch that you might want at the 5. You don't get the rim protection at all. You get the complete opposite of that. But if you're in the market for like a center that you could integrate into, like Charlotte keeps coming to mind, obviously. I'm sure you've seen Charlotte mentioned as a Christian Wood destination just because Turner made a ton of sense there. And really, if you were in on Turner and it wasn't just because of the shot blocking, I think you should probably be semi-interested in Wood. So I think
you have to really buy into, they've been better on defense of late. And you really have to buy into, okay, we're already playing small for a bunch of minutes and surviving. You have to buy into Wood being able to at least not worsen that situation.
Which is dicey. So
to say the least, yeah, for sure.